Hey everyone, it's Zoe. I am coming from my upstairs landing in our house. I have some form of laryngitis, sinus infection, transfer. It always happens, end of semester when stuff starts getting really hectic and then you have that big drop of pressure, you get sick. Well, this is me, moving house, getting the store set up on its own without us there all the time. Getting Woolerton set up, traveling for Woolerton, and now getting the house, up and ready. A lot of stuff happened, and so apparently my body decided that it was the perfect time for me to get sick. So today is day 4 with this voice. It actually sounds a lot better today. 3 days ago, I could barely squeak out a word, and it was a bit squeaky. I just sound like, I've had a couple of packs of cigarettes a day. So you might hear kimchi in the background. That is not a ghost jingling bells. So I'm sitting upstairs in our landing, and this might be where I'm going to put my J desk for the time being. It has beautiful light. And I'm sitting in front of this gorgeous window, so I get to see out. Not that there's much to see right here. I'm facing the main road, but it's just really pretty. So I wanted to get into things, chat a little bit about who am I, where are we, what are we doing, if you know us from before, what's happening. So let's get into it. And I also do say, a lot. So it's just a little something you're gonna have to deal with. I might edit a few out. Okay, so my name is Zoe. My pronouns are they, them. I am the co-founder and a creative director brain person behind Crochet & Co., which is our yarn shop in Montreal, in Verdun, Quebec, if ever you've been. My wife, Marie-Ève, who is currently on her way in from Montreal, is the other co-owner founder, and she is more the financial side of things. Excuse me. So she's the one who's responsible to tell me stop spending money. Okay, you can spend some money, and that I can't just go all crazy on the things that I see and be like, oh, I want this. So yeah, he kind of puts a stop to that, which is good. It is good. She also does that in her personal life as well. So I have someone who will control a bit the ADHD brain that I have. We have 2 dogs. We have Kimchi and Mr. Pickles. Kimchi is, I think, stuck in a closet somewhere. So in the old blue bedroom, which now is not blue anymore because we've ripped out the wall. I don't know if you can see. That used to be blue paneling or turquoise paneling. There's a connecting closet, and I'm pretty sure she's somewhere in there. So we have Kimchi and Mr. Pickles. He's currently on vacation with his grandmama in Ottawa with my mom, so he'll be coming back next week. He's been away for like almost 3 weeks now. They were supposed to come back last weekend, but with the snowstorm and stuff, it didn't. So I'm excited to see my baby. But otherwise, Mr. Pickles is having great fun with grandmama and grandpa Eddie. My mom takes him to what she calls boot camp. She takes him out like 5 hours a day. He comes back exhausted, which is fine. Excuse me. Hot chocolate seems to be the only thing that keeps me going. So we are in the Woolerton house. Back in 2021 during the, I think the second wave of confinement. My friend JP, hi JP, and I decided that we wanted to take up dyeing as a hobby. Dyeing, D-Y-E, not D-I-E. Dyeing yarn and wool and all those things. And so we took an online class and we got hooked immediately, and we kind of like, okay, let's buy some pots and pans, let's get some stuff. So I used to go dye in his kitchen, and then it kind of turned into a bigger thing. And we had been watching a lot of Downton Abbey reruns at that point because, we didn't have much else to watch. And I was like, oh, I wish I had my own estate. Like, if I had my own family, what would it be called? Who would the family members be? And at that point, we were kind of joking around. JP, Emma, and Jean, who during the closures of the pandemic were always in the shop. They were in the shop. We were, masked at a distance, and they were just helping out when we could. And we would have like very big wide circles of knitting and crafting with them because, you know, COVID was long. Anyways, so we call them our Woolerton family, and we did a picture photo shoot of the shop and the products at one point, and I collaged all of our faces together, and it looked like we were headlining a sitcom. So yeah, those are the Woolertons, and they kind of inspired me to create the Woolerton estate. And so the Woolerton estate was born, saw the light of day in August 2021 when I first started dyeing yarn officially for it, and it's been growing ever since. So if you've noticed, the bases, all bases have illustrations. So the jack of all trade, master of none is myself. The engineer is my wife. We have Kimchi and Mr. Pickles, which both have their bases. So Kimchi is the manager because she does manage our shop, and Mr. Pickles the debonair because he is a very sweet, handsome man. We have their two cousins, so cousin Benny and cousin Burley. They are our Surrey and mohair bases, and then we have a couple of other faces that are there, and a lot of the names of the colors are also based off of people in our lives. So our spring sock collection from last year was all of our friends, so that was a really special one for me. But yeah, so Woolerton started off like that, and I always, when I present myself at markets or when I go to events and people are like, oh, what's Woolerton? Who are Woolertons? Woolerton is not my actual last name, although I wish it was. I was like, Woolerton is this fantasy I have of, I'm not able to buy a British estate, or I don't have an estate in my family, so I wanted to create my own, and I've actually manifested it. Kimchi, are you there? No? Okay. I have managed to manifest this into our lives. I am a big believer that you get what you put out. And yeah. So back in December, I'm always looking on real estate websites just because for fun. And Montreal is so expensive that I never thought we would actually afford anything there. I saw this place, and I'm not sure if there was a deja vu moment where I feel like I call her the house. I had seen her previously on the market years and years ago, back when we first moved to Montreal. So back like around 2015, 2016, I have this like memory of seeing her online. And I was like, yeah, no, this is it. This is the house. We had previously went to visit one, and we're 100% in love with it. And we saw this one. We booked an appointment to come and visit, and then it was taken off the market, and I was crushed. And then she came back, and I snatched her up. I was like, Mahi, we're going like right now to go visit her. We drove up, and it was just, we knew from the moment we got out of the car. It was a beautiful sunny day in December. There hadn't been any snow yet, so we really got to see what the yard and the land looks like. We took a picture in front of the house before we left. We're like, okay, this has to be ours. A kind of thing I knew about this house that was going to be my house was that in the kitchen above the stove, and in the pictures, oh, there's Kimchi walking up behind us. There were sock blockers. So, those things you put your socks on to dry. Well, they had two of those hanging up in the kitchen as decoration. And I was like, this is it. This is my house. So we came to visit, we put in a bid, and next thing you know, on December 20th, we get a call saying that the house is ours. So that was the most amazing anniversary, 9-year anniversary gift that Mahi and I could have ever received, and also an early Christmas gift of that. Kimchi, what are you doing over there? There you are. You're on camera, honey. So yeah, the house, amazing. We weren't in the market necessarily for the house, but when people ask us, like, why'd you guys move all the way out to Stansted? Mostly for the house. We had been looking in the Eastern Townships. We love it here. We have a lot of friends. So if you know Montricot, Lucinda and Jill, the owners, are good friends of ours. We holiday here often in the summer when we have a bit of time off. And so we were just looking for something. And although this house is pretty far from what we were looking at, across the street is the United States. We have the Haskell Free Library and Opera House here in Stansted, which is a library where the border lines cross right through it. So one half is on the Canadian side and one half is on the American side. We weren't planning on being right on the border, but it is an absolutely stunning house and we couldn't let it go. Stansted is 20 or so minutes away from Magog. So if you go to Magog for the lake, or if you're in Sherbrooke or in the Eastern Township area, we're not too far. So it's a really beautiful place to come and visit in the summer, as well as like pretty much all year round. In the winter, we have Jay Peak, which is in Vermont. That's about a 40-minute drive from here. There's Owlhead, there's Orford, there's Sutton, there's Beaumont. So there's a lot of ski hills. In the summertime, there are a lot of hiking trails, things to do. In the fall, the leaves are beautiful, and we're like right next to Vermont, so just so many things to do here, which is like also one of the reasons why we were really interested in the house, because we can transform it into a bed and breakfast. We can transform it into a knitting retreat, and that aspect of the business has been something that I've been toying with since I opened up our shop in Montreal. I've always told myself, okay, once I feel comfortable enough to leave the shop alone with my employees and I can kind of take a step back, I really wanted to focus on yarn tourism, because yarn tourism is such a thing. I go to yarn shops every time I get a chance to. I always go to the same ones if I'm going to my mom's. Like, they're on the route. Mahi knows first stop is this place, second stop is that one. When we travel, I make a point of stopping at local yarn shops, and I know a lot of people do this. It's a thing, and I was like, I'd really like to organize travels to somewhere in Shetland to go visit the yarns there, in Iceland, in Spain, in Portugal. I always wanted to create something like that. And so when we saw the house, we saw the potential of being able to turn it into a revenue making business, so like a bed and breakfast and a knitting retreat, as well as having like Woolerton's shop here. It was a no-brainer because it's just that one step forward. And yeah, I'm pretty proud of us. We did that step. Although, like, I tried to convince Mahi to let us move to Scotland, but she didn't want to necessarily. So the Eastern Townships is the closest step to Scotland. So give me one sec. My camera light's just being funny. Eastern Townships is a lot closer than Scotland is, so I guess that is where we have landed. Now my hair's a bit crazy. For those of you that might know, I used to have a shaved head underneath this, and I'm growing it out, and I'm just like not happy with the length right now. Anyways, all that being said, that is kind of the history. There is a bunch of history about the house here, which is really, really interesting. I can't wait to dive in a bit deeper into that. We are in the process of doing renovations. These are going to be slowly done, and they're mostly aesthetic ones. The house is actually, pretty good. It has good old bones for 176. Can you imagine that the house is older than Canada? I can't, like, it just does not compute in my head. But yeah, the house is older than Canada. So that's pretty crazy. Yeah. The renos. So we kind of slowly started. On the channel, you have seen me kind of scrub the kitchen walls and state the fact that it must have been smokers here before, because the walls are yellow and they're not yellow underneath. We had the confirmation this week that the previous owners were actually big smokers. So that would explain a lot of the scrubbing, and I'm still not done scrubbing. Mahi's supposed to be getting me some better scrubbing stuff today actually on her way home, because I can just like no longer scrub as hard as I have been scrubbing. And I've come to the disgusting point where it didn't happen the first time in the kitchen, but in the dining room where it's mostly wood paneling. The moment I hit it with water, the nicotine smell came out at me and I gagged so hard. I wore a mask, and even through the mask you could smell the nicotine coming out. It was mostly coming out of anything that was very like much wood, so our doors and the paneling on the wall. The coffered ceiling was a bit too high for me to like actually get a good whiff of it, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty stinky because there was like yellow beads of water that were dripping off of the ceiling after I washed it. So but yeah, so that is probably it for today. I'm looking at the timer and it's 15 minutes already. I love to talk. I love to hear the sound of my voice. So you will get tired of me talking. However, there is more to the story about the house. I was just going to get into it, but I didn't want to spoil it for everyone, making it a 45-minute long video. So we're gonna keep these videos short and sweet. 20 minutes is my big max anyways, personally, when I watch videos. So we're gonna try to keep it that way and try to do a one cut. I don't like editing. I'm not great at it. I don't have the software for it. Not yet, but eventually we will. So yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Send us some messages on Instagram and Facebook if you want. Just a few clarifications. I just want to remind you, the shop in Montreal is still open. I go there on Sundays and sometimes on Thursdays, depending on how the dog situation is here, because it is quite a long day. It's an 1.5-hour drive to get to Montreal. And with the 2 dogs, it gets a bit long in the day for them. So Sundays for sure, I am in the shop. And then the rest of the week, Inika, Claire, and Mahi-Frederic are there to help you out. They're amazing. They know what they're talking about, so please go and see them. And then for anything Woolerton yarns related, you can always send me messages there. And if you're just curious about the house and have any tips or tricks about renovating an old house, we will take them. We want to do these things properly, but we also want to do them on a budget because we're not rich. So yeah. All that to say, thank you so much for tuning in and subscribing to the channel, and more regular cleaning and renovating content will be posted in the next couple of days. I was going to do these weekly kind of thing because we both work during the week, and there's a lot of stuff to do and I forget to film. Actually, Mahi stopped me at one point. She's like, stop, we didn't even film the intro of you like ripping out the wall. I was so excited to do it. Anyways, all that to say, better editing, better filming, better all over will happen with time. This is not my main hobby. I'm not an influencer, not yet anyways. Who's to say? But yeah, so I will go. I need to start getting dinner ready, and we are having a guest stay with us this week to help us with cleaning, so we will feature our guest on the vlog. So yeah, have an excellent day, and see you soon. Bye.